We cannot be in a situation where we allow freedom of expression, the hard-fought freedoms of our parliament and our democracy to be put at risk. As a One Nation Conservative who believes in our nation and defending the values of this nation, one of the most precious values of our country is free speech, free expression and our parliamentary democracy.
Well, let's take a look at that under the Conservative government.
One of the most precious values of our country is free speech, free expression.
During the past 18 months, we've had an anti-strike law designed to rob millions of workers of their democratic right to strike. An Elections Act will lock millions of people out of the electoral process, a blatant act of voter suppression by the government. And new laws have now stripped back our right to protest and limited our rights to judicial review, an affront to the very principles of fairness and government accountability. And if all that's not bad enough, Sunak's new Rwanda bill actually says a lie is the truth, will put the UK in breach of its international legal obligations. It's a shameless power grab that will put the government above the law and sets a dangerous precedent which could ultimately put all our rights at risk. And if all that's not enough, it actually seeks to disapply human rights. Don't just take my word for it.
It disapplies relevant sections of the Human Rights Act.
Just listen to that again.
It disapplies relevant sections of the Human Rights Act.
I'll come back every week and say this if I have to. Human rights are universal. It's not for this government to pick and choose who they should and should not apply to. And Sunak's Rwanda bill not only strips away basic human rights from people seeking safety in this country, it actually puts all our rights at risk. Because if this government can just snatch away basic human rights from any section of society when it pleases, then none of us has rights. Just privileges that can be taken away by people in power whenever they want.
And our parliamentary democracy.
This is the party that unlawfully suspended Parliament. And as shocking as it sounds, we're now facing a democratic crisis in the UK as this completely out of control government shuts down accountability in Parliament, through the courts and on the streets. According to International Human Rights Watch, the UK could soon make the list of countries that abuse rather than protects human rights, thanks to this government's outright onslaught on the rights of its own citizens. Just think about that. The simple fact is the Conservative government's repeated contempt for parliamentary rules is shaking the very foundations of British democracy. Next time government ministers start talking about freedom of expression and democracy, how about pointing all this out?
Where we've had lots of lines crossed in the past.
Well, no arguments from me on that one.